Now suppose we wanted spell to be a different color or something. We could display each value in the list item in separate elements and style them differently. So I had the example here. The idea is they're not just both out loose in the LI. Maybe they're each in separate elements, like I have a span around this. What's a span? A span's just like a div except inline. It's a meaningless, semantically, element. Span doesn't mean anything. It's just kind of a generic container element, just like div. But div is a block element. Span is an inline element. What's that mean? What's a block element versus an inline element? Inline's a pretty big clue. So block elements have line breaks around them. So a block level element will take up an entire line. Paragraphs, divs, forms, there are a lot of block level elements. Inline elements are things like EM for emphasis, which italicizes things, strong, which tends to turn things bold, links, an A, an anchor element, that's inline. Things that don't have line breaks around them are inline. So the generic elements are div for block, span for inline. So if we don't want new lines around these things, we could just put spans. That way, there is a way to target them separately with CSS. They're not going to look any different yet. We haven't done anything that actually changes their appearance. But now if we inspect, we'll see they are, in fact, in separate elements. And the comma is outside. If we wanted to style them differently, and we were using innerHTML, I really should have reversed the super mega bonus credit. We could do something like this. We could actually use a style attribute on here. Style equals color cornflower blue. Totally works. Why not? Or, heck, I wouldn't have to do it with JavaScript. I could say class equals level and actually make a CSS rule for that. Why not? Dot level, color cornflower blue. Works just as well. So maybe I say class equals spell name. I could do them differently somehow if I wanted to. Yeah, I'll leave the comma in there for now. Maybe spell name, we do something different with it. I don't know. Just for the sake of demonstration, let's say spell name, not spin name, spell name. Text, decoration, underline. So that's the idea there. Now that's if you're doing innerHTML, which as you can see is pretty easy to do. And also, it's nice and readable because we're using template literals. If you were using quotes, besides the fact that you couldn't do interpolation and you have to like end the quote, put a plus sign, put the variable name, put a plus sign, put another quote. Besides that, you can't put line breaks in the middle of quoted strings either. You have to put a backslash at the end of every line if you're going to do that. So that's kind of terrible too. So template literals, very, very nice for this kind of stuff. If you're going to use innerHTML to do a bunch of stuff, way easier to do it this way. Style, spell name, and level differently. Questions so far?